Hello, welcome to another pen talk. Thanks for viewing. Today we're going to discuss a pen I've been writing with for over a month, and I find it extremely excellent writing experience. You may recognize it. The bottles of ink may at least give away the manufacturer. This is a Waterman's 52, an absolute classic. You can always tell most of the Waterman pens because they have the number on the bottom of the barrel. This pen, I would say, was close to mint when I got it. I mean, it needed a lot of tender loving care. It had a fair amount of corrosion on it, but with a little bit of care, a little bit of polishing, I was able to bring it out to where it looks fairly decent. With all the Watermans, they have engraving on the barrel, and this one is no exception. As you can see, the engraving is very clear. They also have the classic lever fill with the ideal trademark or name on the lever. If we take a look at the clip, you can also see that they have the ideal there. And it's a standard riveted clip, which has been quite popular in a lot of the pens. And also in some of the pens you'll have some additional writing at the bottom of the barrel. See if we can get that to be visible. There we go. I date this pen to be probably early 1920s. It could be as old as 1916. I think that's when they first added a lever filler to their safety pens. The original models that look very similar to this were eyedropper fill. They also made safety pens. They made this pen in multiple varieties and designs. This one does not have a cap band, which I think was probably more of an economic move than anything else. The pens hold up fairly well. The hard rubber that they used is, you can see this pen is almost 100 years old, and it's very, very functional. I'd like to talk a little bit about flex nibs, because this one has a fairly flexible nib, and it also, writes very well. Some of the modern flex pens, you need to add a lot of pressure to flex them. They don't give the feedback, I think, that a pen like this does. And the feed necessarily doesn't keep up with the provide enough ink when you flex fully to keep the line and avoid railroading. Whereas with any pen, you could railroad this if you write fast, or don't let the ink the viscosity of the ink maintain cohesiveness of the ink between the tines. I haven't done anything to tune this pen. I basically just cleaned it, put a new sack in it, and started writing with it, and have been very, very happy with it. I came across some old Waterman ink, which I have in the picture frame. This is kind of a unique example. I haven't used it. It's a washable blue ink, but I love the cap on it. Waterman did a lot of things. They were one of the main manufacturers for many times, and this bottle has kind of like a design at the 100-year pen. Some of them had this ridges on the barrel, and this is, I haven't even used this ink yet. I just find it interesting, and as you can see, it's not in the best of shape. It is fairly old, but an interesting tropic green. I would expect this is water-soluble ink, so again, I try to, I don't find those as usable. So I'm going to put some ads up and give you an example of the writing. I hope you enjoyed this little intro. Now we're going to take a look at the Waterman pen close up. As you can see, capped, it's a little bit over 5.5 inches long. It's a good sized pen. Uncapped, it's still over 5 inches long. It fits well in the hand. The section is very comfortable to hold. I found it to be easy to write with a long time. This is the real key to the Flex pen working well, is the feed. Notice the large channel allows a lot of ink to flow to the nib and be able to support the amount of ink it deposited when you're flexing. Here's a close-up of the nib. As you can see, it's a pretty good distance between the breather hole and the end of the nib, and that allows for a lot of flex. Here's another view of that. As you can see, the tipping material is a little bit uneven. Here's the back of the feed. Again, very simple. Works very well. No need for fancy fins or anything. Here's a nice ad that I found from President Lincoln. Supposedly was a user of Waterman pens. Here's an ad promoting them for use in school and college. As you can see, it's a self-filler model like the one I reviewed. And here shows the two different types of 52s, one self-filler and one not. They made a lot of varieties of these. Take a look at how the Waterman 52 writes. I find this nib to be very comfortable. And with a slight bit of pressure, you can get some good line variation. It lays down a tremendous amount of ink. You know, it's part of what I would say modern flex is all about. I don't ever feel that I'm going to overflex the nib or put it out of position, and I've had a few of these, so I have some experience with it. This is just a private reserve chocolate fast dry, but trust me, with this amount of ink going down, it takes a few minutes for it to dry. This is on Tomo River paper, so it's also going to have a little bit longer time to dry. I've been trying to learn script, but that's not going to happen for a while. So that's an example of how the nib works.